And I'll add to that because it's always important to have different perspectives. So first I'm going to address your
What he meant to say.
Your specific question. I'm a lawyer. I talk in legal speak sometimes. Pursue your passions. Follow what you're interested in today. Follow your heart today. You've got some inkling that you want to pursue public administration in the form of running a public works department or running an urban planning department of a city or running a finance department. You've got to prioritize what your interests are. And you don't have to limit yourself to one thing, but you do have to limit yourself to 3 or 4 things and then see what doors, when you open those doors, see where it takes you. You've got to limit yourself because with all the opportunities that are presented to you, it can be very incapacitating to try to figure out which way to go. And so that's why it's important for you as students to attend these national conferences. I did it with the American Planning Association when I was in planning school, and they offered these national conferences 3 or 4 times a year where I could go and mingle with professionals and open some doors, shake some hands, and learn about some very specific opportunities that might be available to me. And that's how you develop that process of, okay, where do I really want to be? And then kind of fate takes over because you meet somebody that has an opening, somewhere. So it's kind of a natural process. But that being said, I want to tell you that I started out with an undergraduate degree in public health, and my first job was inspecting restaurants in DuPage County. Okay, and that led me to a more broad interest in city planning. I had some family members that were planners, and they kind of prodded me, hey, you should go down to UIC and check out their planning program. So next thing you know, I broadened my perspective and got into planning, and I worked in planning for a couple of years. Well, then I met Marty Jaffe, who was one of my mentors here at UIC, and he happened to be a lawyer. And so he always added a legal perspective to things. And I thought, gee, maybe that's where I want my next move to be. So I did my planning gig for several years before I got tired of it and wanted to move on to the next thing. So that was law. And so my point is that your profession will be constantly evolving. If you're lucky enough to target yourself into medical school and end up as a brain surgeon, God bless you. You've got a very specific career ahead of you. And that may even apply in engineering or some other fields. But I think most of the world goes through a constant evolution in their career paths. And that's a very good thing because it keeps you fresh, it keeps you engaged, and it gives you new opportunities. So take both of our commentary with a little grain of salt.
Even if, when you look at those distinct professions that people very, very little, medical is a good example, or engineering, you find those folks also need outlets. So there's a lot of volunteer work that comes out of that, where you really follow something that's missional for you. So there'll be lots of different rabbit holes to go down over the course of your career. But I think the easiest place to build a network and to exercise the muscle of how do you network is within your profession, because you're all passionate about it. You can easily start a conversation about that which you both share. Yes, sir.
I have to use this opportunity to advertise our own professional association, which is the American Society of Public Administration. Hopefully most of you have heard of that. It's both a national association and a local association. We have a Chicago chapter. I encourage you all to join. It's a great opportunity, place to network with people from state government, local government, federal government, you name it, from all across the spectrum. So get up.
That's a good idea. Great idea. Other questions?
Any other questions back there?
Okay. It's a couple minutes before 6. When's our end time? 6:30. Oh, good. Well, then let's just go through it one at a time.
No.
Well, just by PowerPoint. Yeah.
I think we should just cover some of the myths that she wanted to point out that stand in the way of our success. So just kind of go through.
Yeah. We'll talk about this in a little bit. Numbers game, it's not how many contacts, but how you use them. I think it's been great to hear your perspective, because I wonder, well, what's it look like to really need as many people in your network as you can find? And for you, there shouldn't be an end to how many.
Yes, numbers are very important.
Yeah, numbers are huge for you, and for me, the relationship and the ability for them to know that I'm trusted goes beyond just a referral from a trusted source. So to me, having a manageable number that I can keep tabs on has a higher payoff for me. But it's not right or wrong. It's really just a question a focus and.
I think Kate was really trying to put priority on the quality of
Yeah.
your connections.
Yeah.
It's more than a numbers game. Yes, numbers are important. If you've got 5 different opportunities that may appeal to you, or 10 different, you should explore them all, but you should be seeking qualitative relationships with those connections, not just the numbers.
That third bullet point, okay to believe in fate and serendipity, but have a plan. I had a guy that worked for me who used to say that luck was laboring under correct knowledge, and I think he's right. You know, if you really if you work hard, you seem to get luckier. You know, so being planful about who you connect with is the fix to the myth. You have to be an extrovert to excel at networking. I think nothing could be farther from the truth. I think you have to be passionate about why are you networking. If you're networking just to meet somebody, that's a painful experience. But if you've got something to offer, or you want to learn from somebody, it's not about how outgoing you are. You know, I think you can organize an event, and then I think you even mentioned earlier, you don't have to be out in front. You put smart people in a room, and interesting things happen, and you get credit for having organized that. I don't think you have to be always an outgoing person.
Do we have a question back here?
Yeah, I guess just one thing is just making that initial approach. So I'm at the event, there's people I don't know, but I'm there. How do I break the ice?
Why are you here? That's about as easy an icebreaker as it, like, we're both here. What brought you to this event?
Do you have, are you one of the people that have business cards?
Yeah.
Okay, you know, you keep those handy. You're standing in a room, and I'll give you a couple tips about working a room. Get there early. Be a host. Have confidence. Greet people as they come in. Okay, so if you get there ahead of time and have your bearings and know where things are, just to have a sense of comfort to you, as you start to see people come into the room, target somebody. Target somebody who looks interesting to you. And go up and shake their hand and say, hey, my name is Tom, and I just wanted to welcome you and find out a little bit about you. We got a few minutes before the event starts. What brings you here? And that's a perfect line to use. What brings you here? And that just kind of opens the door. People love to talk about themselves. That's my huge secret of networking. You ask somebody about themselves, what are you into? How long have you been doing this? And they will just run off at the mouth for hours. Because most people do not get it. They don't get that it's not about me, 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 me. It's about the other person. And if you're open to listening to other people, you will just reap the rewards of that. And it's just really a wonderful thing. Try it. And you'll have great times and you'll have bad times. There will be some nights you're just off and you're just like, what the hell am I doing here? I'm going to go have a beer. You got to go with the flow. You have to have the bad experiences in order to have the good ones. So it's all about balance.
I find to build on that, sometimes I'll go with someone else, and then the hardest thing is to not just talk to each other.
Yeah.
You have to get there and then go off, and then you get to introduce each other to the people that you were just talking to. And then because you already know the other person you're going to introduce them to, you can say, I just met this person, I think you guys need to talk. And they don't even need to know that you guys have planned this. But now you got 4 people talking about the subject matter, and it becomes very natural and very easy. Okay. She just goes into more detail here. There's the game players, trade-off makers, low key. I like the trade-off makers. To me, that's being really planful. It's that quality versus quantity again.
No one will want to be your mentor unless you are rich, sexy, already well-connected, or related to Rahm Emanuel. And you just have to be yourself. Different personalities connect. I don't know if it depends on your zodiac sign or whatever, but you do have to show up with a smiling face. And you can't be an introvert, but you really don't, it's not necessary to be an absolute extrovert. You just have to show interest and passion. Don't just kind of stand there in the room and expect people to come walking up to you. That's not how it works.
But it's more effective and easier to approach somebody and ask them about them. We've all been turned off by the person that comes up, leads business card first and says, I'm looking for, and is trying to drum up business, and you just feel like, I want to take a shower after that 30 seconds of interaction. But if they come up and they're genuinely interested in what you're doing and why you're there, it's a much better way to start things. So you just have to be willing to go first.
check my Facebook page.
Linear, old teaching the young, yeah, that was, you sat at the feet of the master. Yeah, this is, I see this a lot in HR, organizations that are struggling to manage talent and to retain talent and to recognize that baby boomers are retiring at an increasing rate and it's happening faster than they're bringing new talent in, and yet the people that are getting ready to retire have a lot of the knowledge capital of the organization. So they're in a panic on how do we retain this, and what we're finding is that there is lots of opportunity if we enable people to interact multi-generationally, multi-discipline. They can help each other get better at what they're trying to do. And more seasoned workers are often interested in using social networking or using some of the latest technology or understanding how the younger generations are coming into the workforce. There's just lots of opportunities. So from an HR standpoint, I've been responsible for setting up these kinds of lunch and learns activities or knowledge management processes where we connect multi-generation. This is
The traditional networking tools never change. Integrity, respect, ability to listen, willingness to help, being prepared, and bringing value to people.
exactly.
Are all of you guys on LinkedIn? Pretty much. I want to tell you a LinkedIn story. I was at a networking event for the Greater North Michigan Avenue Association a couple of years ago. It was just a social networking event at a restaurant, and one of the restaurant servers approached me. And I don't know what his connection to me was. He just thought I looked like I might be interesting to talk to. And I just struck up a conversation with the guy. I was open to him. I was willing to hear what he had to say. I go there to meet new people. And I didn't care if it was the busboy or the server or whoever. I enjoyed shaking this guy's hand, and he left with my card. I'm always giving out my business card. He called me up, or he sent me an email on LinkedIn and wanted to hook up with me on LinkedIn. And it turns out he was a recent graduate of Hope College, and he had taken the job in a restaurant because it was the only job he could find, and he was just looking to improve his lot in life. He wanted a better job. So I was one of the lucky connections that he chose to reach out to. So I accepted his LinkedIn invitation, and most people would have just left it at that. But this young man reached out to me again the following week, and he said, Tom, now that we're connected on LinkedIn, I took the liberty of reviewing your connections. Because that's what LinkedIn does for you. It opens up somebody's Rolodex. Imagine if you could have your professor's Rolodex at your disposal. What could you do with that to make some terrific connections? Well, this guy did exactly that. For some reason, he had targeted the C.H. Robinson Company as a company he wanted to work for, and he found somebody who worked at C.H. Robinson in my LinkedIn connection list. And he called me up and said, hey, this is a good excuse to call you and just kind of shoot the breeze. It was great to meet you the other day. What'd you think of the event? Da-da-da-da, bullshit, bullshit. And next thing you know, would you mind putting me in touch with person X from the C.H. Robinson Company? And I said, why? And he goes, because I'm looking for a job there. I've done some company research. I just need a foot in the door. And I just thought that was amazing that this guy took the opportunity to follow up. And of course I did put him in touch with that person, and of course that person put him in touch with somebody else, and of course they met for coffee, and of course he got a job. And he called me back to say, I can't thank you enough. That connection was just the thing I was looking for that got me out of that restaurant. And I said, okay, I'll take my commission anytime now. It was just a wonderful experience. So that's just another anecdote of how you can use these tools. You got to go beyond making the, electronic connection. You got to pick up that telephone. And I'm here to tell you that the telephone is one of the most important tools of networking. It's really cool.
Yeah, I hope you guys are old enough not to have the disease my 14-year-old has. She has this phone, but doesn't use it as a phone. It's just for texting. And when you call, she's not sure what to do with it. Or when she calls me, she's like, hello? I mean, really, it's the weirdest thing. Anyway.